Yeah.
Today we got your Royal Highness here,
Thank you, brother.
Yahoo Blackwell,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
blessing
you.
the podcast.
Thank you, man.
You
Thank you for
know,
having me,
you
bro.
start from sports.
Mhm.
In sports you had discipline. Now you bringing that same discipline and focus into politics.
Yep. Yep.
You're a mobile, a community leader,
Yes, sir.
an entrepreneur,
Yes, sir.
and now you're running.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, explain to us, man, the transition from sports to politics.
Wow, man. So how I got into politics was my great great grandfather. His name was Royston Austin Blackwell. He was a slave in Northumberland County, Virginia, and he was on the Anchorage plantation.
Okay.
They called it the Walnut Lodge back then. And Lord Joseph Blackwell had owned my family. So he was a England immigrant. He came from England. He was commissioned by King Charles I. So he's the one who purchased my family from Osu, brought them to Northumberland County, Virginia. In 1864, my great great grandfather escaped, but he escaped during a Union raid. Um, General Hugh Judson Kilpatrick. He invaded Northumberland County. He commanded a troop called Kill Cavalry.
Right.
So he invaded Northumberland County. This was in 1864, I believe May of 1864. March or May of 1864. My great great grandfather left with Kilpatrick, came to Baltimore, and enlisted in the Civil War. He served on the Revenue Cutter Tiger,
Right.
and he changed his last name. Well, he changed his name to Austin. That's how his name became Royston Austin
Right.
because he didn't want to get recaptured. So so he was freed by a Republican. Kilpatrick was a Republican.
Right.
So that's how it all started coming together with me running for the Senate as a Republican.
Wow. And the fact that you could just dig into your history like that,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
and just like I think it was May of 1867. Like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Wow. Everybody claim to love the kids,
Facts. Facts.
right?
Facts.
And we see them out here on the corners,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
squeegeeing windows and
Yep.
stuff like that. Back in the day when we were kids, we would bag groceries up,
Facts.
and at the store get a few dollars,
Right.
go get a frozen cup and stuff like that. But now it seems like these kids are turning into young adults, but like they don't have no skill sets,
That's right.
no education. Why the people who claim they love the kids that's in control,
Mm-hmm.
if they really love the kids? In my opinion, the answer to that is education.
Correct.
Um,
Correct.
you are big on education reform.
Big on education reform, man. I'm championing that out of everything that I'm doing. I mean, everything's important, but education, I feel like, fixes so many problems in the state of Maryland.
Mhm.
And like you said, man, the people who's been leading the state hasn't addressed this. Um, and when education would literally fix so many problems that
Yes.
the state has.
Yes.
So literally, my first day in office, man, I'm writing a bill to transform all the high schools into trade schools.
Now, sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in trade. I graduated from trade school
Oh,
in
for real?
2008.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up.
Um, I went to prison
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
Came home when I was 22,
Right.
and got my GED. Had all kinds of certificates. I was ready
Mm-hmm.
to rejoin society
Right.
in a positive manner,
Right.
and it was so hard.
Right.
Couldn't get any jobs. Every day I would go catch the bus, get applications. The next day, get on the bus, take the applications back, and pick up new ones.
Right.
Right. And it was almost next to impossible. And when I got interviews,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there with people I know that's way more qualified than me. And it just felt like a
Mm-hmm.
waste of time.
Right.
Now, for a person like me, I was always good with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, my uncle ended up getting me in a job doing HVAC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, on the ductwork side, on the installation side, fabrication or whatever. And long story short, I got an opportunity, and I was so good at what I did that they decided that we're going to send you to where trade school.
Wow. Wow.
Now I still kind of remember briefly
Mm-hmm.
when trades was in the school,
Right.
And now it seemed like they separated the two because you could make money
Mm-hmm.
if you separate trade school from high
Right.
school.
Correct.
But the problem is a lot of people don't even know that trade schools exist to as though it's not a thing where I'm a transition from high school diploma
Mm-hmm.
to 4 years of trade school where I don't have no debt and
Right.
I'm making money off rip, right?
Fact.
So when I see those kids out there with the squeegee bottle
Right.
or selling waters when it's hot,
Mm-hmm.
because I now teach at this trade school, I
Right.
always give them the information. And the thing is, like, I think we would have less of that if
Mm-hmm.
kids knew, young adults knew that they had these other options.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
everybody is not the doctor,
Correct.
everybody is not the lawyer,
Correct.
but it's other opportunities that
Mm-hmm.
these young people could take advantage of.
Right.
How do you marry trade school
Mm-hmm.
and high school together that these kids will walk away with a diploma and maybe a journeyman's license or some type of certification or certificate that they could bring to the trade schools and get their license?
Yeah, man. When I was in high school, I was going to Milford Mill Academy. I started at Milford Mill Academy, and I was taking a trade. They had a trade back then in Milford Mill called Computer Audio Drafting and Designing.
Yeah,
And I had transferred from there, but I would have came out of there practically as an architect straight out of
yeah,
high school.
right,
You know what I mean? So um, what I plan on doing, man, is I'm gonna merge the two back together so that kids aren't. It shouldn't be where kids got to go to high school, leave high school, then go to another school.
right.
No, I'm gonna have it where straight from high school they can become, they can get their CDLs, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, barber,
Wow,
hairdresser, roofer, welder, whatever it is, whatever trade that they want to take up, they'll be able to do that straight from high school. It'll be covered by the state, so
wow.
nobody's going into debt. The mothers and the fathers don't have to be running around here scrambling, trying to figure out how they're going to get some money to send their kids to school. The state is going to be covering it in the high school curriculum,
Yeah,
and also I'm gonna have credit development in school because that was never taught to us.
wow.
Some of
Yes,
us didn't get our credit together till we
yes.
was
Yeah, I
late,
was in my
right,
30s.
late 30s. You know what I
Yes,
mean? So I'm like, well, why isn't that being taught in the high school curriculum since that's so important? So I'm gonna have programs for that. So where the kids are, especially coming like 11th grade, 12th grade,
yes.
they're gonna be getting their credit together.
Yeah, it's real important.
Real important. So they're gonna be learning, the ins and outs, the credit. I'm gonna have a program together where they developing credit while they're in high school. So when they come
I
out of
love it.
high school, they already gonna have credit established. So they'll be able to go out, get a house. They already had their career set. Everything will kind of already be in place for them to, join the workforce, join society, all of that great stuff. We're gonna have it where we're teaching the kids home ownership, so they have those resources as well.
Yes.
And I wanted to add civics classes as well.
That's very important because
Yeah,
they need to understand the way the government works.
exactly,
So
exactly.
so when you hear taxation without representation, you know
Right,
what that
right,
mean,
right,
and
right,
you understand that these people,
right,
brave men and women who take the courage that you have and go and run to represent people,
right.
what it takes and what they can and can't do.
Facts, facts.
Um, wow, it's crazy because everything you just everything you just labeled, everything you named,
Right,
right? And you know, that's the stuff that I teach my kids. And a lot of
right,
kids are not fortunate to have parents who,
right.
made it to the other side and that they could teach them these things.
Facts,
You know what I'm
facts.
saying? And put these things in school because you could it's so with the immigration situation in America, right?
Right,
With people claiming that, we're losing this workforce. I'm not here to demonize groups or nothing like that.
right.
This is not that. However, though, it is going to be a vacuum
Mm-hmm.
where it's going to be more positions open, especially in the
In
trades.
the trades.
So now you fill that gap
Mm-hmm.
because now, for instance, these kids they could take 2 days during school hours
Right.
where they're on a job site
That's right.
getting their hands on because
That's right.
they,
That's
they,
right.
to have your license to get your journeyman's, you got to have so many
That's right.
hands on and stuff like that.
That's right.
And that's one way that, like you said, when they finish, and not just that, they might have a job.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I'm gonna have it
That's
set up.
really changing
It
lives.
is, brother. It is, man. And I'm gonna have it set up where when they get into like the 12th grade, we'll start working on that job placement. So,
Yeah.
So once they get the certification, now they're not looking for a job now.
Mhm.
So the goal is to have high school students coming out. They have a high school diploma, certified in a trade, job placement. Um, we're going to teach them about business startup just in case they want to scale the trade up. Um, we're going to have them learn in civics classes so they know all their rights,
Mhm.
cans and can't do, and that'll work on both ends with law enforcement and the community.
Yeah, you teaching them stuff that they could actually use.
Exactly. School has just been one of the reasons Maryland has failed in schools because the information isn't practical.
Yes.
Nobody can use it.
Right.
So, that shoots up crime and
Yes.
improductivity in our society. So, um, yeah. So,
Uh I got this is I talk about stuff like this a lot.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And every opportunity when I see a young person, I always let them know it's different options.
facts,
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times they don't even consider them. You
facts.
know, because you know when you're dealing with the schools are a reflection of the community, and then the
Facts.
community is a reflection of the home.
Mhm.
But that triangle right there,
Right.
one always affect the other.
Facts.
So like when now you ain't gonna be able to save everybody because it's gonna be people that's going to want to be menaces to society
Mhm.
and live the way they live. However, the kids coming up now, we can save them. We could
Facts.
really give them hope.
That's
The
right.
problem is these kids don't have no hope or no
Exactly.
guidance. And
Exactly.
it's like, all right, granted, we lost a generation
Mhm.
and a generation of adults as well.
Right.
So with this program that you planning to implement, it can it can change the
Change.
lives of
Facts.
so many people, not just those children,
Mhm.
but their children.
Facts. Facts. So true, man. So true. Man, it's people in trades, man. They making 100,000, 200,000, $300,000 a year from a trade.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna have it set
Yep.
up like I said. They're not gonna be acquiring debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The state's gonna cover their training.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna just. I believe this in itself will start fixing the state because it's hard for the state to even get a grip on crime.
Yeah.
And I saw reports that came out. They say, "Oh, crime was down. Crime was down." I knew it wasn't down
Yeah.
because the education system is broken.
Yeah. And we live in it.
We live in it.
Yeah, we
Correct.
know. We see
Right.
it
We
firsthand.
see it
That's
firsthand.
why, like, you got to be able to solve a problem. You got to be able to diagnose the problem. Like a lot of times with pundits, and this is what makes you different.
Right.
Your boots on the ground.
Facts. Facts.
This is a live experience, not you just looking at your phone as some stuff that the algorithm threw your way,
Right.
or just some numbers and
Right.
saying the statistics say this. Because it's nuance and caveats to numbers.
Facts.
And with your boots on the ground, you can look at it and see the problem and see the thing is, this how you know when you're dead on. When somebody's looking at the same thing and y'all come to the same conclusion on how to fix it.
Right.
That's how I
Facts.
know you're on the right track. So
Thank you,
you
brother.
talk about also mental health and addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, During COVID, when we couldn't go to the gym and we was
Yeah.
working out here,
Yeah. We was getting it in, man. I was thinking about that the other day
Mhm.
too, man.
I love
I still got the pictures from that.
me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is going to get a little touchy.
Okay.
I lost a kid that I raised,
Wow, brother.
you know,
Sorry.
to thank you to it was fentanyl in the
Mm.
pill that he popped.
Wow. Wow.
And during that time, this when everybody was afraid.
Right.
He was a young man
Right.
and they wouldn't even let us come to the hospital.
Wow.
And he laid there and died by himself.
Mm. Wow.
And mental health, addiction.
Mhm.
I grew up um with an addicted parent.
Right.
So when I and around that is mental health because you don't know. Our parents was the ones who the uncle climbed through the window and
Right.
touched them, or
Right.
dad left and went and got milk and didn't come back.
Right. Right. Right.
That old school crazy stuff,
Right.
right?
Right.
And we was the children when
Mhm.
crack was new. And let me try this. Then somebody didn't know that they had an addictive personality and you ain't see them no more.
Facts. Facts.
And then they got into other stuff. And boom, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like these are subjects
Mhm.
that's close to me. And then I still see it.
Right.
I'm blessed that I was able to make it out.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And one thing about our views and our standpoints, we understand starting points
Mhm.
and we understand that we got to work to get to this point, and then our kids starting point to be here and so forth, and that's the way it works.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not a I stay here and
Right.
I keep looking backwards and I never move forward.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you what is your mental health plans? What is your vision for mental health and how to solve the substance abuse and addiction?
Yeah, I'm going to, put a plethora of resources together to attack that. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I've been just sitting up thinking of, just every way to, combat the issues that's going on in Maryland. And so, while I'm fixing education, I said, man, I also gotta, fix people that's dealing with addiction, homelessness, mental health. I have to attack that as well. So I'm going to
Mhm.
be working with, all the community leaders, um, just be getting feedback from the community, people like yourself, brother.
Yeah.
Just talking to people, just trying to figure out how can we, what resources do we need to put together
Yeah.
that's going to help these people heal.
Yeah.
And because like I said, as we attack in education and public safety and all the other stuff, we also got to be attacking, the mental health, substance abuse, and homelessness that's going on in
Yes.
the state of Maryland.
And that's part of the triangle that we talked about earlier, the
Facts.
community, school, and family.
Mm-hmm.
And that lies in there because it affects the people around them.
Yes,
One thing though about addiction is that it's a disease,
I
and
agree.
it could be a great person that gets that disease,
Right.
and they'll be fighting that disease for the rest of their life.
It's true.
And a lot of times we pass that on to our kids,
Mm-hmm.
and not like it's a cough, a
Right.
chew, you got it,
Right.
but just in our mannerisms and
Mm-hmm.
what they think is okay behavior in the stuff being around them. Well, I saw my dad drink 80 beers.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I dated a girl, man. Her family was just like generational alcoholics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like her father, her grandfather, her great, like it just came all the way down. Even
Hmm.
when me and her was dating, it was just, she was just heavy into,
Yeah.
alcoholism.
And it
So
kills.
it does. It does.
Rest in peace to my mom. She didn't die from alcohol,
That's
but
the
she died of cirrhosis of liver. And she couldn't get a liver, and she
wow.
ended up passing. But she had a tough life.
Mm-hmm.
She was a sweet, beautiful person. All the goodness that's in me
Mm-hmm.
comes from her.
Same here.
You know what I'm saying? And I miss her every day.
Same here,
And
brother.
that's why this is another thing where just seeing it, I seen like I had aunts, uncles, they all gone now
Mm-hmm.
because of that. My uncle was on a be all you could be poster,
Wow. Wow.
jumping out of helicopters in the army with his M16 on the poster. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that disease, a person with that discipline that went through all the training
Right.
and it got him.
Yeah.
My aunt was a rest in peace. She was a counselor over the jail, helping the prisoners back when they used to still pit people to death down the jail, you know, down the old penitentiary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happened to her.
Wow. Wow.
It affects all
They do.
walks of life.
They do.
And I know that's gonna be a challenge. You ain't really gotta get into the nuts and bolts of that
Yeah.
because I know that's a long
Yeah.
thing, right? I commend you for wanting to take on the real issues.
Yes, sir.
These are the everything we had touched so far are the real issues.
Real issues. That's
Not all this. This is the real. This is what you call boots on the ground and understanding the problem.
yes, sir.
Um, you Fresh Start Act
Yeah.
expungement. Can I
Expungement.
share one story as an
Yeah,
introduction?
go ahead, brother.
All right, so I'm in the trades now. I love it. I'm
Yeah.
thankful,
Yes, sir.
but I'm be honest with you. Like not having exposure, or
Mm-hmm.
not knowing all the different options. When I got old enough in my 30s,
Right.
well into the trades, I wanted to leave the trades and wanted to do something else.
Right.
Um, and I wanted to become a firefighter.
Right.
And long story short, was in another state. They was paying decent money.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I could start over with this.
Right.
I could live. I could, and ultimately, I could get up to this number. So I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. It's like
Right.
purpose.
Right.
I could see myself running in the burning building,
Right.
climbing up the tree, getting the cat.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Saving Bart Simpson out the well.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that was
Right.
me.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
and they accepted my application. I'm like, yeah, I get the
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of society.
Right.
And so one stipulation was that, hey, we do background checks,
Right.
lie detector tests,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm like, oh, all right, so criminal background, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's just get this out the way. Let me send my stuff.
Right.
And they take kind of long to respond.
Right. Right. Right.
They got back to me immediately and said, you know what? Sorry,
Yeah.
because of that.
Right.
And it crushed me, right? and I ain't been in trouble in a long time.
Right.
I'm 44 years old.
Right.
I got in trouble when I was 19 the last time,
Right.
right? And not just that, when I got my HVAC license, I
Mhm.
had to write a letter explaining it and what I do, and I'm so sorry. So it's true.
Right.
Children, listeners, it's true. It follows you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So when I seen this fresh start,
Yeah.
I'm like, this he ain't
Yeah.
missing. It's like
Yeah.
watching somebody play basketball and they just keep hitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just keep shooting it and keep hitting.
Yeah.
Just keep hitting. Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about this Fresh Start Expungement Act, man? And what is your vision?
Yeah, man. There's so many people, man, who just like you said, man, just probably got in a little something when they was younger or something like that. And you can't look at a person that's, 16, 17, 18 and think that person is still the same person at 30 and 35 and 40. So I think it's unfair that um that should have to follow them for the rest of their life,
Yeah.
especially if this person is demonstrating that, you know, hey, I've integrated back into society. I'm out here. I'm being positive and productive, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera, et cetera. So it shouldn't be where that stain is now, crippling them for the
Yeah.
remainder of their lives, especially when they demonstrating that, they're being productive. So yeah, so I'm definitely going to, write that bill, the Fresh Start Act, so that, people can, you know, erase that part of their life,
Yeah.
move on. Hey, this happened. I was whatever 18, 19. I was
Mm-hmm.
hanging with the wrong crowd, whatever it was. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but that's not me no more. I've moved
Yeah.
on. I'm a grown man now. I got kids. I got a family to feed, et cetera, et cetera. So, I think we should be able to, allow that individual to be able to reclaim his life back and not be limited to opportunity,
Yeah.
especially when they making the effort.
Yeah. Because like a lot of times, like one of the things was like when you used to fill out paper applications,
Hmm.
when they ask you is you a convicted felon or not, like yes, then please explain.
Right.
Like you like, dude.
Right.
So what happened was,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I tried to tell, and he was like,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, society keep a record of the wrong we do and not the right. But it
Right.
is a way to determine,
Hmm.
by letters of recommendation from
Right.
people and stuff like that to measure what you've been doing, or to to
Right.
help reflect that hey, this person been a
Right.
upstanding
Upstanding
citizen.
citizen. Correct. Yep.
So that's what's up. So we talking public safety and law enforcement, right?
Hmm.
And just accountability from police and the community, right?
Right.
Um that's enough.
Yeah.
You say you look at the mountain and say, I'm a climb it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and in all fairness, right? I did a reaction video.
Uh huh.
It was a situation where police shot somebody.
Right.
And everything a lot of times we make stuff about black and white, blue against black and white. We know what the numbers are. We ain't here to talk about that, right? But in this case, it was a black officer
Uh huh.
and some young black teenagers or whatever.
Uh huh.
Watching the body camera footage, they jump out. Young dude, the other one trying to run interference for
Hmm.
the one that he know got the drugs and gun on him, right? He
Uh
was
huh.
17.
Uh huh.
So anyway, long story short, he ended up chasing him.
Hmm.
And the young dude, I've been in this situation before too.
Right.
They
Right.
chasing them, and when you got that stuff on you, got the
Right.
gun on you, what you trying to throw it?
Right.
You
Right.
because
Right.
you don't
Right.
want to get in trouble.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
that's not how it looked to the police.
Correct. Correct.
Eh, long story short, I think, in my opinion, I knew he wasn't about to turn around
Hmm.
and what's the name and like these young and do something to the police. But it happened, so you
Right.
can't really blame the police
Right.
for wanting to go home. I
Hmm.
don't.
Right.
Um, But he pulled it out. He ain't turn around,
Hmm.
but the police ended up shooting him in his
Right.
back. He
Hmm.
lived.
Right.
And I talked about that, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of times because of the overall relationship, the history in the country, right?
Hmm.
Back and forth, both sides.
Right.
It's not one
Right.
sided. Um, with the community, urban communities rather,
Hmm.
in the relationship because a lot it is over police.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I know I got friends that's white that live in different neighborhoods and stuff, and they do stuff shooting and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And they like we just shooting, drinking beer.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
can't do that here because
Right.
their neighbors will be pulling up, whatever. So we
Right.
understand how that stuff works, but at the same
Right.
time, stuff do happen here where we do need the police here. So let's
Right.
not play dumb.
Right.
You know what I mean? But anyway, but it's a sentiment like this good and bad, dark and light thing, good and evil when it
Right.
comes to people in the community. And a lot of times we all look alike. So it don't matter what you are. If you live in a police community,
Right.
even if you're not doing nothing because you probably got harassed by the police because you look like Lil Jamal, you
Right.
probably feel a way too because you could relate even to the guy standing out there that's actually doing stuff. You could relate to it because like I ain't even bothering nobody. But anyway, to that
Right.
point,
Right.
um, anyway, they end up going crazy, blah blah blah. And I did a video, and I was like, in all fairness, and I gave the rundown, right?
Right.
And you got to be careful when you talk about people that carry guns
Facts.
and living in this city. And
Facts.
long story short, the mom reached out to me.
Wow. Wow.
And she was like, I hear you because I was fair.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
say they're the big bad police. I'm like, my angle was we failed them
Facts. Facts.
because he was out there selling drugs and had a weapon on him.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I mean, we could go on and on with story after story about how the relationships between communities, black and white, just poor people
Right.
or people in general, because it's not a black and white thing.
Facts.
It just what's sexy on the news and what's
Right.
going to get clicks. So we just going to focus on the darker people.
Facts.
But it happens to everybody.
Facts.
How do we mend the relationship between the community and get the officers back on the beat again?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh, man, that's a great question, bro. I'm going to I'm gonna get back to dialogue, bro. So what I plan on doing, especially in District 8, and I hope that the other legislators jump on board, is we're gonna have quarterly law enforcement and community dialogue. So I'm gonna bring the law enforcement together with the community,
Yeah,
and we're gonna have a open and deep discussion. This will probably go on quarterly, top of the year, middle of the
yeah,
year, end of the year.
yeah,
So we're gonna bring that relationship back together.
yeah,
So we need to hear from the police to hear his perspective,
yes,
what he sees. Okay, when you run and you turn like this, it looks like this to me.
yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? I got a daughter at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're gonna do. And then we need to also be giving him that feedback as well. Well, it looks like this to us.
Right.
When you run towards us, we get scared. We do this, and we're gonna start trying to find that healthy medium in between the middles, and then start coming to that common ground where the police is understanding the community is understanding the police. So it was a point in time, man, where the police used to know the people in the neighborhood, and they knew who Miss Johnson was
Yep.
and who Miss Kathy was,
Yep.
and if her son was acting crazy, they go, "Hey, man, boy, you know what I mean? Take him home. Yo, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Miss Kathy,
Take the little weed
right,
from like,
yeah,
look,
right, right.
this your last
This is the
time,
last
and
time,
talk to your
right,
grandmother. Yeah.
right, right. So I'm like, I gotta mend that relationship because I feel like you said, like the community see the police, we looking at them like, oh, they the ops. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The police see the community, they looking at us like, oh God, they the ops.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we gotta mend that relationship, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
where we're talking to each other again. And so that's what I'm gonna, start working on when it comes and I'm gonna have events, all of that good stuff, in the state of Maryland so that the, even the young adults and the kids can start having a better idea of, you know, what his perspective is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I run and I do like this, what that
Yeah.
look like. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into all that. It's going to be a deep dive, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to really get down to the nitty gritty and start coming up with solutions, and
Yeah.
so that each side has better understanding of each other, and so we can start healing that relationship between law enforcement and the community.
I think it's possible because, like, in all fairness, you gotta think about what police deal with on a day to day.
True,
They deal with the the scum of the earth sometimes,
true,
right?
true, true,
And but that don't mean everybody's the scum of the earth,
true. Facts,
right?
facts.
You have crooked police
That's true.
that do messed up stuff.
Yes, sir.
That don't mean every police is crooked.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And hopefully we could get back to people looking at officer friendly.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bring officer friendly back.
yeah.
Protecting children. You talk about school lunch, adult content.
Mm-hmm.
How we going to address those things? Because we know kids are just like computers. They just downloading all this information.
Facts.
And I think there was a study that was talking about check your kids' browsing history. And
Correct.
you know what's crazy? A lot of times you could do what you could do everything you're supposed to do at home.
Facts. Facts.
And then they go out into the world. That's the triangle again.
Yeah.
School, community,
Mm-hmm.
and family.
Facts.
And they go to school and they might get exposed to, you see this,
Right.
and now you done unlock something, or they
Right.
seen something they can't turn
Facts.
back from.
Facts.
How are we going to protect these children?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna remove all the sexual content from grade schools. I feel like
Oh yeah, that part.
yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, man. I just feel like kids should just be, we shouldn't be tampering with their innocence and with their youth. I feel like kids should be kids, man. When I was in grade school, I was trying to be Spider Man, Batman,
Yeah.
Power Rangers. I was trying to be every superhero I could be. But now you got, you know, children's being sexualized um,
Mm-hmm.
in school.
Yeah.
That's without parents' consent, all of
Yes.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So parents are not that's not why they sending their kids to school. You know what I mean? So I'm going to remove all of that. So that kids' innocence is being protected. In the school atmosphere.
I think I think that's another one of those mountains that you looked at and said I'm a climb, because it's like they try to justify it, that say, well, kids, we don't want them to hate. Naturally, kids don't hate.
Facts.
I mean, kids gonna be kids. They're gonna be curious. They want to know stuff. That's why we send them to school
Facts.
with teachers that we trust, so they could teach them
Facts.
arithmetic, 1+1, and how to read ABCs, your vowels, and everything else. In elementary school, that's what they should be learning, how to write their name in
Facts.
cursive.
Facts.
You know what I
Facts.
mean? And
Facts.
I think a lot of times it's like they gotta let the parents do what parents do. You
Facts.
gotta
I
have
agree.
faith in parents again,
Totally agree. Totally
because
agree.
when I was in school, my mom and dad taught me about the birds and the bees.
That's right. Same here.
Yeah,
Same
they
here.
didn't say, well, it's a queen bee and there's a bunch of other bees, and all of them get in line to get with the queen bee. You
Right.
dig what I'm
Right.
saying? We
Right.
believe we
Right.
didn't even
Right.
know
Right.
live birth. We thought a
Right.
falcon or something, a bird
Right.
delivered babies.
Right. Right.
It was so crazy. I remember one time I ran away, right, as a
Uh-huh.
kid, little kid. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
packed my clothes up and tied them on a stick with the bag, because that's what I
Right. With the
seen.
stork. Right. Right.
So yeah,
Right. Right.
exactly. So
Okay.
we understand
Yeah.
that it's real critical. People might take it lightly, especially when you don't have kids.
Hmm.
But your kids are bringing this stuff home,
That's true. That's true.
and then your kid all wondering, they all quiet, they playing with their peas on the plate. What's wrong, Jamal?
Right. You're right, brother.
Nothing. He don't know how to communicate it, because this is crazy to him.
It is.
And it's not to come at teachers, because a lot of times teachers are, you know, a lot of times saviors for these kids, because they might see a bruise on them
Mm-hmm.
and start seeing different behavior. So
Right.
we're not demonizing teachers. However, we just want them to stick to 1+1=2.
Correct.
And it's not no disrespect to whoever feel how they feel about themselves,
Right.
but that's yourself.
Right. I agree.
So
Totally agree, brother. Totally agree.
you talked about removing chemicals from school lunch. What sparked that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother. I had just started studying, what was in the food in the school,
Yeah.
and I just started noticing that there was, it was a high level of metals in the food, lead, aluminum, all of that stuff, and that plays a part on, learning disorders.
Yeah.
So,
It do.
you know what I mean. So I'm like, okay, if I'm, fixing the education system, I also have to, you know, protect them, from a nutritional standpoint as well. So I was like, man, I got to get this stuff out this food. I mean, it was dangerous levels of lead and aluminum in school lunches. So I said, oh man, this isn't good. You know what I mean? So I said I got to come out.
Yeah.
I got to come out.
It's like some of the stuff is the same stuff they get the prisoners.
Indeed,
In
indeed.
some cases, the prisoners eat better.
I was just about to say that. Indeed. Yep. Yep. Yeah, man. I when I was reading about it, and I just started reading up on like um the damages that it can
Yeah.
cause. You know what I mean? And it's just hit and miss, man. You got some kids that growing up, and then it affects how they learn. It affects how they process information.
Hmm.
It affects how they're able to retain information.
Yes.
I said, oh man, this got to come out. This isn't good.
Like, to your point, I seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
Having a bunch of cousins, and a lot of times, people are poverty stricken.
Hmm.
You might get 35 cents in the morning on your way to school to get honey bun,
Right.
a glazed donut
Right.
from the store on your way to school. That's your
That's
breakfast.
your
So
breakfast.
you
Right.
looking forward to lunchtime.
Right.
So
Facts.
that's the thing. It plays. So if we putting chemicals in the food, we devouring it. Now
Mhm.
the kids they bougie
Right.
nowadays.
Right. Right.
At least
Right.
the high schoolers, but
Right. Right.
when it matters, when you're growing, you still growing in high school, but when it matters to your younger kid,
Right.
like we eat these metals and leads,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it does affect your learn. It does.
Mm-hmm. It does. It
When
does.
I say you pick a mountain and you say I'm gonna climb it, this is another one
Yeah.
because it plays into the triangle again. Again, if people claim they want to fix problems, they
Right.
claim they love their children, but why aren't we addressing
These issues. Facts.
the other thing, right?
Facts.
So let's say, you got communities that have better schooling, better lunches, where parents spoke out, the officials heard them and made the changes. So we know it can be done, right?
Facts.
And with all these different things going on in the schools and stuff like that, right? Because there's so many social stuff that spill over into the schools,
Uh huh.
whether especially in the cities, whether it's beefs, internet, they get the phone and they
Right.
make videos against each other, and they outside, they smoking weed before they go into school,
Right. Facts.
so many different things. And they come in there, the kids that want to learn, the kids that probably be suffering from something, they disrupt the class. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big thing where nobody's learning.
Right.
Um, I just think that's important that like we really address it. you know, um, Excuse me, I lost my train of thought. The stuff in the food because it really affects how the kids act.
It do.
You know what I
It do.
mean?
It do. It do.
And all of that plays into the triangle. This triangle is important.
Mm-hmm.
Community, family, school, everything affects each other.
Facts. Yes, it does.
So
Yes, it
like
does. Yes, it does.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. Oh, to your point, man. I was gonna say even on the behavior, um, standpoint, like you said, brother. You know what I mean? These chemicals and the lead and the aluminum and all of the metals that's going
Mhm.
is playing a part in how they behave as well.
Mhm.
So, I did a lot of studying on it, man. This is something I just threw out there. Like I took my time to, you know, look up what was in the food and the
Yeah.
effects that it had on the human body.
Yeah.
And you just consuming it year after year after
Yeah.
year after year. I said, I got to get that out of there. You know what I mean?
And this is how you and this see and this is what I mean by multifaceted problems, right?
Hmm.
There's so many different angles. It's not a one size fit all solution.
Right,
And it's like, all right, it ain't gonna solve all the problems, but if you keep
right.
eventually it will.
Facts, facts,
And we again, we ain't gonna be able to save everybody, but
facts.
with all these policies that you plan to introduce can change the whole state of
The
Maryland.
entire state.
And you also mentioned being pro family and tax relief for families who
Yes,
work.
yes,
Let's talk about that a little bit. What's your
yes,
vision for that?
yes, yes. Because I used to always ask the question like, well, how come like you know the fathers and so forth aren't getting resources when- to take care of families?
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? So I said, it just doesn't make sense to me that I said, yo, you got fathers out here that's holding it down.
Mhm.
They should be able to access resources
Yeah.
to take care of their children and family and so they should be able to get tax credits or whatever and
Yeah.
access this or that or whatever it is to lighten that load and that burden on him as well. So I'm like, I just felt like a lot of the programs were for people who weren't making any effort.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're demonized for
Right.
making effort.
But the ones who is out here making an effort, working, contributing to society, contributing to to the system and taxes and all of this, why aren't they able to withdraw resources when they need it? And so I said that I'm going to promote pro family. So for the dads and so forth that's out here that's
Yeah.
you know got kids whatever the case may be and they holding it down they going to work they doing everything they supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They should be able to come in and say, hey, you know what, I need this, I need that,
Or just some tax relief.
or some tax relief, right?
Because
Absolutely.
it ain't like somebody asking for a handout, but
Right.
I'm paying into a system.
Facts.
Like, all right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's
Hmm.
documented. You can look at it.
Facts.
Cause
Facts.
cause everybody don't make a lot of money.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I remember working 3 jobs at a time. I was a maintenance man.
Hmm.
I was teaching at school, and I had a day job, and I
Right.
had kids here
Right.
that I had custody of.
Right.
So I get it, and it's like, I ain't look for nothing, I ain't asked for nothing, but
Right.
it would have been nice to get some income taxes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely.
And you kind of
Absolutely.
fudge your numbers on your dependents just so you could bring more money home to be able to cover all your bills,
Right.
whatever. But then at the end of the year, depending on how old your kids is, that don't mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
man. I'm definitely gonna, create legislation that's gonna, be pro family. You know what I mean? So families can access resources and get ahead, you know what I mean, and get some relief
yeah.
because and I wanna promote pro family as well. You know what I'm saying? I feel like even down to, from a relationship standpoint, I feel like a lot of women is incentivized
Yes.
to break up households or break
Yes.
up families.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna reverse that,
Yeah.
where now it's incentivized to stay together, to be a family, to work it out, even if the father and the mother aren't together anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Co-parenting.
they
Yeah.
co-parenting, they should, we should be able to access, proper resources or etc. to keep our family, moving the
I
way it's
like
supposed to be
that because
moving.
it's like a lot of the laws are dated.
Hmm.
Once upon a time, men had their foot on women's neck,
Right.
right?
Right.
And they were subjugated to whatever, however that man was, because he was the lead. Automatically got custody of the kids. Blah
Right.
blah blah. You could hit your wife as long as you ain't ball your fists up.
Right.
Crazy stuff like that, right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
we had to have laws to protect women,
Hmm.
and just like an iPhone, we update it every time there's a change, and we
Right.
keep up with things that's going on. The
Right.
same thing with like child support laws and stuff like that. Things need to be updated. And I think that in this time that we live in, it is still incentivized to this, because we didn't do those things
Right.
to our,
Right. Right.
we paying
Right.
for the sins of
Right. Right. Right.
somebody else father, because my
Right.
father ain't do that either.
Right.
But the point is,
Facts.
I get it, right?
Facts.
But at the same time, we do need things more modern because
I agree.
we have blended families, we have different kinds of families,
Facts.
right?
I
In
agree.
respect to the different kinds of families,
I
right?
agree.
The specialists out here doing they whatever how they back whatever how they live, but they doing what they supposed to do, and they raising their kids up the way they raise their kids up. They ain't hurt nobody,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
But you do have situations where people co-parent, and then that tax when they got young kids in tax time, they bumping
They
heads.
bumping heads. They
You
bumping
know what I
heads.
mean?
You're
And
right.
that cause friction and blah blah blah. So like, I like that
Mm-hmm.
update when it comes to like this tax relief for parents, dads, namely.
Right.
Just writing us into the laws, not
Right.
writing women out of them.
Facts. I
You
agree.
know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I want the women to know it's not an attack on the women.
Yeah.
We're not taking anything. Taking anything
Sidebar
out.
though, this
Right.
relationship thing
Right.
is another. This is
Yeah.
another
Yeah. Yeah.
mountain. Cause just think
Yeah.
about it. I don't want no 50-50 man,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I want this,
Right. Right.
and the
Right.
man should that, and it's like we living. I'm glad I'm married.
Yeah.
I'm good. Y'all
Yeah.
crazy out there. Like we can't
Yeah.
sit here and act like we don't know the state of the state of the country
Facts.
when it comes to employment and jobs and stuff like that. And everybody is not making 250,000 a
Facts.
year, a hundred
Facts.
thousand a year. I mean, you look at those numbers. The average person is making 40, $50,000.
Correct.
And that's before taxes.
Correct. Facts.
So like you gotta just be realistic. And then a lot of these people that's asking for that and wanting all these things because of what they see on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
they don't even make that.
Correct.
So anyway, I'm glad I'm
Right.
married. I ain't even go down that slippery slope.
Yeah. Yeah,
On a
man.
on a real serious note, an
Uh-huh.
emotional note,
Sure.
the Cora Thomas Act.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Man, can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So, the Dakara Thomas Act. She was brutally raped and
Yeah,
molested.
I know the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It was crazy, brother. And and the more I read into it, I seen where like like skull fragments found in the house and threw a body off a bridge and all
Yeah,
that
a
crazy stuff.
kid.
A child, man, a child. I believe she was 19 years
I
old.
got my youngest is 18.
That's
It
crazy,
hit
man.
close to home.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't let my daughter get no cars or nothing.
Facts,
I go get you. I don't care if I'm tired. Yeah.
facts, man, facts. So, and I know Maryland's sensitive about immigration.
Yeah.
And I was just telling a lot of the constituents that I'm not against people trying to better their life or
Right.
come to the U.S. to better their life, but we still have to do our due diligence and background check who's
Yes.
coming into our community.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because for him to have comfortably killed her that way, my instincts tell me that wasn't his first time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
He was doing it at home.
He was doing it back home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he came here.
Right, he came here.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, but the fact that we never, you know, looked into or did an international background check on the man to see, you know, what what he was into before he came into our communities, I that caused the Cara to be
Yes.
killed the way she was killed.
Yes.
So, I'm like, we gotta, I was telling people like, man, they do a background check if you get an apartment.
Yeah.
So how are we not background checking who's, we got kids, people
Yeah.
got kids, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can't just have somebody come in your community from another way of life,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean? We're not talking about somebody who live in the same state as you or a different part of you from a totally different way of life coming into the community, and you know there's been no kind of background check done on this person. So I just feel like we just got to do our due diligence and just background check
Do you,
who's coming
do you
into.
think that just being in this state that it'd be a whole lot of pushback on?
I do, man. I've just talked to different people, and then they were like attacking me about it, and I was like, I don't understand why I'm being attacked because that was somebody's daughter.
A lot of the people, and it's not an attack on any party,
Yeah,
but a lot of the people who write laws and pass laws and vote on laws, they live in gated communities.
correct.
They When we talk about school, we talk about the lunch, we talk
Mhm.
about all the things that we went down, talked about. Their kids is not affected by it.
Correct. Correct.
I had lost my train of thought earlier, right? And I'm
Mhm.
this quick little rabbit hole when it came to school and all these different things, and that these people supposed to love these kids. The kids that's in these communities
Mhm.
graduate the same time as these other uh, politicians' kids graduate from their private schools because they're not affected by the
Facts.
by the votes and what they
Facts.
choose to do and not do,
Right.
and they all go out into the world at the same time.
Facts.
And this diploma supposed to say XYZ ABC. You can read, write,
Mhm.
spell your name. It's just like trade school. When you get that journeyman's license, it's
Right.
saying that is a standard. I have a base knowledge of this trade. And
Right.
I go anywhere in the country with
Right.
this. That means I know how to do the job,
Right.
right? But the problem is, imagine getting that and you just never did it, and they
Right.
just push you through. And
Mhm.
now what it does is it widen the gap. It guarantee it creates a elite, a
Mhm.
growing elite that's so disconnected from the people they supposed to represent, and
Facts.
even their kids. And then their kids come up and they run,
Facts.
and they don't understand the problems.
Facts.
And that's the difference with you and boots on the ground.
Exactly.
And the back to the 19-year-old, that passed, like that hurt because I got
Yeah.
kids. I
Yeah,
got two
man.
daughters.
Yeah.
And and I got a son. Like all this stuff affect me. And it's
Facts.
like,
Facts.
um, I don't it's not I know I got a strong stance, right?
Mhm.
But I nothing's written in stone for
Right.
me, right?
Right.
I work every day with people I know ain't from here,
Same.
right? And they're not bad people.
Same. Same here.
So it's not, the thing is like, you know, everybody so upset right now when it comes to immigration, right?
Mhm.
But nobody did anything.
Facts.
So like, all right, why can't we do anything?
Facts.
Why did we get to this point
Facts.
where it
Facts.
looked real ugly?
Facts. I agree.
When you see it on TV that we decided just to kick the can down the road, diver. That's Barack Obama word. That's the
Right.
first person I say that, divering. I stole that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
nobody done anything.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But so now I hope that this came to a head, and hopefully nobody else got to lose their life,
I agree.
and we solve this problem. And I think you, with your vision and your plan, I think you are the solution.
Thank you, brother.
And I hope that you inspire not just to be boxers and entrepreneurs
Right.
and business, like everything you do. You've been in Forbes magazines, everything.
Thank you, man.
You know what I mean? Like, but just to get into politics and represent their community
Absolutely.
because it's not easy. I see you out there rubbing elbows and
Yeah.
doing what you gotta do, networking.
Yes, sir.
And I'm happy that we're here. I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you,
You know
brother.
what I mean? You got my full support.
Thank you.
Saying this, anything you need me to do, I'm out there.
Same, brother.
You know what I
Same.
mean? I'm a phone call away, man.
Always, man. Always.
Thank you, man.
I love you,
I
man.
love you too.
Yes,
You
sir.
already know.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I'm open to ideas and discussions on immigration.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I know people that's you know probably not from from here legally, but
Yeah.
they're wonderful people.
Yeah.
Wonderful people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so again, it wasn't attack. It wasn't an attack on the people that's trying to better themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I see we still need to do some kind of due diligence as to who's
Yeah.
coming into our neighborhood,
Yeah.
into our communities. Especially, we got children, we got kids out here.
Yeah.
We got females out here that
Yeah.
they can't defend themselves if something go down like
Remember that lady that was jogging?
Mm-hmm.
He probably seen her. She probably had some curves.
Yeah.
He like, oh, somebody left the cage at the zoo open.
Yeah,
like
man.
there's no more. You know what I mean?
Right,
And that's
right.
Rest in peace. I don't.
Absolutely.
But
Rest in peace.
But it's sick. We are men. We know we got the same wiring.
Right.
So we see things. Or we know that's what's the name. But we got discipline
Right.
and respect.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because this is not a piece of meat. This is a human being.
Right.
And then just because somebody look the way they look, that's not an open invitation to violate them or disrespect them in any type of way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if anything, it's it should a protectiveness. You see that person looking around, make sure ain't no creeps out here.
Facts.
Not oh yeah.
Right.
People come from different places where they do different things. Is what I'm saying.
That's
ultimately,
that's
you know what I mean? So like. Yeah, that's real important, man.
That's what I was trying to get to, man. And just the manner of which she was, the manner and how she was killed was not even, merciful. You know what I mean? She even died a barbaric death. So I'm like,
I was upset that I didn't see enough coverage.
Yeah, me too.
Like that rubbed me the wrong way.
Me too.
Because like this is important. And a lot of people think that we don't care because homicides and stuff like that. We can't control that.
Right.
And everybody that get killed out here, that's somebody's kid. I'm pretty sure they care. A lot of times, like even when they was talking about the National Guard coming, a lot of people's like, yeah, bring them because we're tired of losing children.
Facts.
If one guard, if one National Guard standing on each corner could save somebody's kid's life, right? I'm for it. You know what I mean? And I would rather have the police stand on every corner.
Right.
But I'm just saying when we was talking, when that was the conversation or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's like, because I'm gonna say this about people who's living a certain type of way. Exposure, right?
Right.
And, I changed my life.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm trying to contribute something.
Right.
Help the young guys. Cause I can relate to you, but look, it's a whole nother battle over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I would have got taken out a long time ago or wasn't given grace by some judge,
Right.
you know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to, what's the name? So people can change, in other words, given a chance.
That's true.
You only know what you know.
That's true.
Until you get taught something else.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we live in a time where everybody got their phones and all that, but algorithms play a key part.
Right.
It shapes ideas and perspectives about people.
Right.
And a lot of stuff, you got to watch that too, because everything ain't what you see on there.
Right.
You got to get boots on the ground. But the thing is, even with that, even with technology, even with the internet making the world smaller, people only still know what they know, and that's their neighborhood.
That's right.
And so, but people can change.
They can.
Given the opportunity. And we vote people to be in charge of us to make sure things are straight and in order. Money's getting delegated to where they are, not robbing us and taking our money and blah, blah, blah.
Facts.
So I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you, brother.
And I think you're going to spearhead something. And I know it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But the community going to support you because regardless of what your political affiliation is, all these key things and stuff that we've been waiting for.
Absolutely.
I'm happy for it, yo.
Absolutely. I was telling a lot of people that in the community as well. I said, everything I'm fighting for affects all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is no party line.
Yeah. Right.
This is universally all our issues. Like we need to come together and get these things done.
Yeah.
Get these things legislated for. So yeah, man. I'm like you said, I'm trying to climb that mountain and get this stuff done.
I like what you said, like that party stuff don't matter, because now when you even think about what we're talking about, what is it? What we gotta? This is not a thing where we going to clash as a point of contention. Like this is our job here.
Right. Facts.
Man, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank
I
you,
love
man.
you, brother.
Thank
I
you.
ain't
Love
going
you too,
yeah,
man.
man.
Thank
We're
you
gonna
for
get this.
having me,
We're
bro.
gonna get absolutely. Thanks for coming. We're gonna get this work done.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We're
sir.
gonna get this work done, man.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your Royal Highness Yahu Blackwell.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
And yeah, we're gonna post the pictures. We're gonna let them know what I mean by royalty.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.